Hello, and welcome to the Real Estate Practice Podcast, the show that helps you know what to say when you're talking to buyers and sellers so that you can close more deals and earn more money. I'm Darren Tunstall, a real estate professional, coach, and #1 best-selling author. Let's get into this. As a reminder, the purpose of Scripts and Dialogues is to come, learn, practice, and be prepared to fail forward. This is where we make mistakes and help each other out, but we're mostly interested in seeing how we can get better. First, we read through the script word for word, and then we go back and put it into our own natural tone, style, and phrasing. You won't know what to say until you go through the script. So, with that said, many people will say, "That's not how I sound," and I totally get it. That's not how you sound. But that is the reason why we practice every day, so that the script becomes you and in your own voice. So read it word for word first, then go back and put it into your own natural tone, style, and phrasing, and I think it'll work out. All right, let's go ahead and start today's practice, which is called Connecting with Homeowners to Find Seller Leads and Referrals. And to set this scenario up, in this scenario, you are reaching out to homeowners in a specific neighborhood to identify potential sellers or referrals while representing a motivated buyer. I mean, it's that simple. Basically, you're going to either call or door knock in an area, and because you have a buyer who really wants to live there, and you're going to tell them, "I got a buyer. I got a buyer. Have you thought about moving?" And I would just want to add one thing is really, if you don't have a buyer, don't lie. You know, if you really have a buyer, I mean, then go out and they will really want to live in a specific neighborhood, then do that. I think I've told the story many times about, some guy dropping by my house who said he had a buyer. I said, "All right, come on, let's go, make the offer." Never came back. So, don't lie just to try to find a seller. Truly go out there with full transparency. This is who it is. But that's what it is. We're gonna ask them if they're interested in selling. Do they know anybody who wants to buy or sell? As well, at the end, if it's not right for your a buyer or they truly don't want to sell. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. Pretty simple dialogue. We have a good 22 minutes to do this before we bring everybody back. Practice it 3 times. One, word for word. Two, start to put it in your own words. And three, do your best to go off dialogue and make it truly yours and in your own tone, style, and phrasing. All right, let's go ahead, break out. Okay, Cecile, Dan. All right, Dan, let's have you be the agent first. Cecile, you'll be the contact. When you're ready, Dan.
Okay. Hi, Cecile. This is Dan with Rise Realty. I wanted to quickly reach out because I'm working with a buyer who really likes your neighborhood. I was curious if you ever, I was curious if you ever, sorry, I was curious if you have ever thought about selling now or sometime in the future.
Hmm. Not, I'm not really interested right now, but thank you.
Okay, that makes sense. A lot of people are not actively thinking about it. The reason I ask is because this buyer has not found the right home yet and is focused on your area. Sometimes the right opportunity comes from conversations like this. Have you ever heard of anyone nearby who might be considering a move?
I'm not quite sure. I don't really know if anyone that's trying to move right now.
Okay, I understand, and I appreciate you even considering it. I try to keep this simple and respectful. I only reach out when I have a real buyer interested in a specific area. If anything ever changes for you, I would be happy to be a resource. I can also put together a quick home value update for you if you are ever curious.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I might be open to that.
Great. Yeah, I mean, there's no pressure at all, just something helpful to have. Would it be easier if I dropped off a simple report for you to review on your own time?
Um, yeah, that would be good. Maybe if you can just email it.
All right, great. I'll keep it quick and easy. What's a good email to send this over to you? All right, great.
Sea
Thank you.
dragons, yeah.
All right, there you go. Cool. Yeah, because we're not going to schedule the appointment. So that's good. All right. Pretty straightforward, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. There's nothing much to it other than that.
yeah.
But we'll get a chance to go through it in our own voice. All right,
Okay,
Cecile, when you're ready.
okay. Hi, Dan. This is Cecile Dregness with Keller Williams. I wanted to quickly reach out because I'm working with a buyer who really likes your neighborhood. I was curious if you ever thought about selling now or sometime in the future.
Um, no, I'm not really interested in selling at this time.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people are not actively thinking about it. The reason I ask is because this buyer has not found the right home yet and is really focused on your area. Sometimes the right opportunity comes from conversations like this. Have you heard of anyone nearby who might be considering a move?
In my neighborhood, I mean, I'm not really sure. Then again, I wouldn't really feel comfortable letting you know about that without their permission, also. Just being
Got
honest.
it. Yes. And I understand. I appreciate you even considering it. I try to keep this simple and respectful. I only reach out when I have a real buyer interested in a specific area. If anything ever changes for you, I would be happy to be a resource. I can also put together a quick home value update for you if you are ever curious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm always interested in knowing what my house would be worth. Again, I'm not planning on moving or selling, but knowing the value, I guess, would be helpful.
Ah, okay. No, well, no pressure at all. Just something helpful to have. Would it be easier if I dropped off a simple report for you to review on your own time?
Yeah, you can drop it off in the mailbox. I work crazy hours, so I want to be able to meet you.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Um, that works. I will definitely do that.
All right, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, good job. Now we're going to do it again, but before we do, um, what's one thing each of you could do to start to put it in your own tone, style, and phrasing?
What comes to my mind is a scenario that I kind of went through with with a buyer recently.
What was that scenario?
Oh, so well, I was gonna wait for the dialogue, but
Oh, okay.
it's they made an offer on a house. There were like 22 offers submitted. They got beat out. So I sent a letter to the neighbors and surrounding streets saying, "Hey, my buyer missed out on this house. Love your neighborhood. Essentially, would you be open to selling?"
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And Cecile, how about you? What was going through your mind when you were doing the last dialogue practice?
Um, well, I mean, I often get things placed on my doorstep or in the mail about people looking to buy in my own neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, um,
What do you think about that when that happens? When you get the postcards or the flyers, what goes through your mind when you get those?
well, I kind of think about the agent of and um how proactive they are in helping their buyer.
Okay.
And I'm kind of thinking about, oh wow, they're really going all out for this client.
So
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 I'm kind of thinking about the agent.
good. Good. So a couple of different perspectives there. Absolutely. That's all I really wanted, like when you were going through that dialogue, because it's like, maybe I would have said it differently, right? So start to incorporate some of those things and begin to put it in our own voice. You're still welcome to use the dialogue as a guide. So Dan, we'll have you started us out again, and when you're ready.
Okay. Hi, Cecile. This is Dan Pisano with Rise Realty. I'm reaching out because I'm working with a buyer who recently missed out on a house that was for sale in your neighborhood. And so I was reaching out to see if you had any interest of potentially selling this year.
Um, no, I don't think we're ready to sell this year. We're yeah, I haven't really thought about that actually.
Okay, yeah, understandable. I know I just called you out of the blue and you obviously weren't thinking about selling, but did you happen to see what 22 Main Street sold for?
Oh, no, I haven't.
So my buyer made an offer on that house. It was listed at 800. They ended up getting about 20 offers on the house, believe it or not, and it sold for around $900,000.
Oh wow. Oh,
Uh,
it's getting up there. Hmm.
yeah, was that wow it was higher than what you expected, or a wow you don't think it's a good price?
Yeah, no, I think that was not what I expected. I haven't really been following the markets. So, but I mean, that's great.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked is because again, there were 19 other buyers interested in that house as well as your house or your neighborhood. And so, I'm being proactive for my buyer client and trying to reach out to the neighbors to see if they themselves are interested in selling or if they know of anybody else that's considered selling. Does anybody come to mind in the neighborhood that you would know of?
Not that I know of. Not really, not sure if anyone is. I haven't really heard of anyone, honestly.
Yeah. No, I know. Again, I called you out of the blue, so you probably weren't prepared. But would it be okay if I leave you my contact information or send some information over to you so you have it in case you yourself are interested or anybody you know that mention it in the neighborhood considering selling, that there is a buyer out there that's well qualified and ready to move forward if they're interested?
Yeah, yeah, I could be open to that.
All right, great. What's a good email address I can send this over to?
Yes, cdragness@gmail.com.
All right, great. So I'll send over some information about myself. Again, if you or anybody you know in the neighborhood would consider selling, there is a buyer, a well-qualified buyer out there that can be flexible on your timeline as well.
Sounds good.
All right, great. I'll send this over now. Thank you.
All right. I like that, Dan. There was a very genuine sense that I felt, at least listening in, that you were really um, in tune with what she was saying. You cared about your current buyers who did not win those other offers. Um, there was one point where you took a breath and you're like, yeah, I'm just trying to be, proactive for our current buyers out there. And I don't know, something about that breath made me feel like, okay, this guy's trying, kind of like how you describe Cecile when you get those flyers, like they're really going all out, and this guy, I kind of feel like this guy is doing the same thing. Um, I don't know, something about that breath. You took it a couple of times. It's pretty interesting. The other thing that I wanted to ask you, Dan, is I noticed that you say, what is a good email to send over to you? And I'm
Mhm.
curious, does that work better for you versus something like what is the best email?
Um, I think I use it interchangeably. I think it's just what comes to my mind first.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
both come off naturally, and they're both essentially asking the same question. I was just curious, like if you did an A/B test, which one would you get a better result from? I don't know. That's
Hmm.
just something to think about.
Yeah.
But good job. All right, Cecilia, you ready?
Yeah. All right. Hi, Dan. This is Cecile Dragnes with Keller Williams Realty. Just wanted to reach out to you because I'm working with a client right now who was really interested in your neighborhood. I was curious if you are in the market right now to sell or thinking about selling right now.
Yes, actually am thinking about selling. What would your buyer be willing to offer me?
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. Well, yeah. So yeah, well, I guess what we can do is we can, actually, I don't know what to say. Well, that's great. I could definitely put my, um, maybe reach out to your agent.
I don't have an agent just yet. Again, we're just in the beginning stage. We're definitely selling. We're in the beginning stages though, and we don't have an agent just yet. And I don't know, the fact that you have a buyer, I think maybe I can skip a couple of steps and just get an offer.
Mhm. Well, what I can do is, uh, that's a good question. If you don't have an agent, I would be happy to, either put you in touch or get you in the right direction to help you out with, listing your house.
Hmm. Well, what's your buyer looking for anyways?
Well, he's looking for exactly what your house has, which is, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and he really likes your neighborhood because of the school, the good schools. So
Okay.
yeah, so
Is
it's
he
right in line with what.
is he willing to pay over the asking price?
Well, what would be your asking price?
Oh, that's a good question. So I have no idea, honestly. But would they be a cash buyer or would they need a mortgage?
Hmm. Now that's something I would probably, Darren, I'd probably have to talk with you on what I can, disclose, right, to a client. And
Well, there's a few questions going on right now. I
yeah,
mean, first off, you have somebody who's interested in selling your house, selling their home already.
yeah,
He said he
uh-huh,
was just thinking about it. So, number one, from an active listening perspective, because you asked him, I can talk to your agent. He said he was just thinking about it at the moment.
yeah,
So that
uh-huh,
should be a really good indicator that he most likely doesn't have an agent. I like the question though. I appreciate the question. I think you can ask it in a different way.
uh-huh,
Um, however, there's a couple of questions that I have for you. Is, when he asked the question, is your buyer willing to pay over the asking?
uh-huh,
You said, well, I don't know, they're basically, and then he asked another question, which is, um, what is your buyer looking for? He's like, and you immediately responded with, well, they're looking for a house like yours with a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And I'm number one, I'm curious, how do you know that information right now?
for my buyer.
Are you zeroing in on specific homes? Like, are you contacting specific homes, or are you working from a list that maybe Title gave you, or you researched on your own, or a database from somewhere? How do you know how many bedrooms or bathrooms? And my point is, you don't have to answer that. My point
Oh,
is, you know, well, right now I am just calling, or, the neighbors around the home. Tell me about your house first. You know, get them talking
I
to
see, I
you.
see. Yeah,
Because
okay, got it.
yeah, that's I mean there's so much that can go on here. Tell me about your house, right? I would love to understand more about it before, I just make an offer on my ho on the
Yeah.
for your neighbors,
Well,
right?
I kind of assumed that, I was reaching out to Dan because I knew that he had, what the my client was looking for. So I was zeroing in on.
Okay. So yeah, that's a different conversation than if you're calling all 3 bedroom, 2 baths in the area. But I would still say, because they don't know that. You
Yeah.
know, they don't
Mhm.
know that. I would still
Yeah.
ask them, tell me more about your house.
Yeah.
I would love to see it and, give you a value and at the same time, talk to my buyers about what I saw. You know,
Okay. Yeah,
Dan, what
and
are
because
you?
he kept asking about, like, oh, what's he willing to pay for it or whatever, and like, it kind of catches me off guard. Well, I can't really disclose that, right?
Well, I don't think you have enough information anyways, just yet.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. But it's a fantastic question. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm interested in selling. What are they willing to offer? You know,
Yeah. Hmm.
Dan, has
And
that asked you? Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just going to say I had a similar situation. I sent a
Ah.
letter to a building on my behalf of my buyer client, and I get a call from a condo owner, and one of the first questions she asks is your buyer willing to offer more than listing price or asking price? And again, this condo wasn't even on the market. And it's
Oh.
like, well, where, well, what are you looking for, right? So
Yeah.
how do you answer that, right? So you obviously answered it very well, I think, in terms of, well, what are you asking? What are you looking for, right? So I just kind of threw that out because that happened to me. But yeah, I think right. It's like, yeah, I am interested in selling. And
Okay.
then I think maybe pivot and kind of shift the focus on them. Like, what has
Yeah.
you considering selling? Tell me more about your house, what updates you have,
Got it.
and
Yeah.
like keep
Okay.
your buyer in the background maybe. But if like, I don't know,
Yeah.
get the listing out of it, then I don't know, might be worth going that route instead.
Well, yeah, because I was kind of focused on, oh, wait, you don't have an agent representing you. I was, you know,
Yeah.
trying to think about, that side too. Like, oh, you need to get someone to.
And then I guess the other option is like, well, when would be a good time I can check it out to see if it does meet what my buyer is looking for. And then if it does, then I can bring him through here and then we can go that route if necessary.
What'd you end up telling her, Dan, from your flyer?
What did I say? I said they're willing to make a competitive offer that gets the job done. And she said, that's not what I asked. I go, what are you asking for? What's the asking price? Right? We haven't like it wasn't determined, right? So um
Yeah. No, that's good. All
yeah.
right. Well, no, that's good. Dan Hill, any comments? Broker Dan, ask Broker Dan.
Yeah, I got a few things. In the initial conversation, we started off Boston Dan, which after that curveball to Cecile, I might say you might be Bastard Dan. Bastard threw me a curveball. Um, Great scenario. Um, you said P and S, and I couldn't tell if you were saying P and S or PNS, and I tell you what I realized I was doing. You kept talking, and I kept going through the alphabet trying to figure out what PNS stood for,
Uh,
and I lost about 40 seconds of conversation. And it's one of these things I teach on all the time with agents is don't get caught into our vernacular and our acronyms because your clients don't know what that means. And in this case, I'm in the industry. I don't know what that PNS doesn't mean anything to me. I know what a P&L is. Um,
Hey,
so
to add to
the,
that, I
the,
had to Google that real quick because you're absolutely
the,
right.
the yeah,
I came up with purchase and sales agreement, I think, but
Yeah.
it also made my
yeah,
mind think of something completely different, which I should probably not be thinking about here, but that's how it came
yeah,
out. So think,
yeah,
acronym and vernacular, absolutely,
Yeah.
100% agree. Sorry,
yeah.
Dan, go ahead.
So, in response to yeah, I'm ready to sell, Cecile, that's your listing. Not You're not going to refer them to somebody else. So, you need to immediately shift your point of view from, okay, how do I get in the house? How do I see the house? How do I value the house? So, I'd say before we get to that stage of what my client would offer, I'd probably have to take a look at the house, take a walk around, and basically what I would do is just a workup with you, like I would do with any seller, to make sure that we're competitive in the marketplace. Um, why don't you tell me a little bit about your house and the reason why you want, and this is what Dan went to, tell me some things about your house. The reason why you want to go to that, from my perspective, is you have a fiduciary duty to your buyer right now, not to that seller. And I want to get the seller on the record talking about their house before I get there, because they will more than likely disclose things to me in that phone call that they're going to work up a story before I get there. But now that I've got them cold on the phone, they're going to tell me the truth, because people have to tell the truth. So, tell me about your house. How old is it? Bedrooms, baths, when's the last time the roof was replaced? How's the furnace? Does it have air conditioning? Just go through the list of questions and get them on the record, and then ask the question, is everything in good shape? And then pause and see if they will reveal conditions of the property, because that's going to put a cap on the price of that house as well before you get there. I guarantee you, by the time they're going to be ready for the production when you show up later, and may end up having an argument with their spouse about coming over too soon. But I'm going to get some of that general information, and I'd say, you know what, I'd love to get this going. Why don't we can I come take a look at it this afternoon, and I can start doing the workup, because that will take me a little bit of time, and set an appointment right then to go look at the house. You need to go look at it. Don't take your buyer. You need to go look at it. You need to lock it down, because if it's not going to work out with this buyer, you want the listing. The other thing, there was something else I had in there. That's the ideal scenario. This is the dream phone call is, yeah, I'm looking to sell, or I'm going to sell. And then you can start talking about the timing and stuff after he goes over the condition. Because that all changes, and the agent's question about, are they willing to pay over list? It's like, it depends. Are you looking at 200,000 or 2 million? So,
yeah,
you put them back on the defensive. Sorry, go ahead, Darren.
No, I just want to ask the question, Cecile. What's the title of today's dialogue?
Connecting homeowners to find sellers, leads, and referrals.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Connecting with homeowners to find seller leads and referrals. Yep. So that's what we're
And
doing.
you're
We
gonna
are
go-
calling in behalf of our buyers, but
Yeah.
like Dan said, this is a dream scenario, which does happen.
And
Right.
and the financing that they're going to use, it's okay to disclose that. If you
Yeah.
if you
Okay, yeah,
pause
that's
on
what I
that,
wanted to know.
it looks like you're making it up.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
wasn't
free to
sure
sell.
what I could disclose.
Yeah, anything that's not confidential, that's not confidential. That's going to be a term of the contract. It's like,
Oh, got it.
they've got
Okay.
they've already got financing arranged. They've got a pre-approval letter. Matter of fact, you know what? When we get together this afternoon, I'll bring it with me so you can take a look at it. Because I want you to know I'm here to serve them. But if we end up working together to get this done, I'll be serving you as well. So I want to make sure we get it right. And everything is low pressure, not closing. You're moving to a closing. You're moving to that appointment, but you're not trying to slam the door on it right away. Cecile, I'm curious, what did you do before real estate?
Oh, I was in IT. I worked in IT for several years.
Management at all?
More on the support side.
Okay. So you deal with people all the time and stuff?
Yeah, dealing with resolving issues and technical issues.
Okay. You have a very strong, confident voice when you speak. So lean into that. There's comfort in the way that you talk and your speech pattern, but also the way that you handle a conversation. That's beyond. That's why I said before you were such a good actress in that one script that you did. But you're really good on your feet, and it shows. So be confident in that.
Oh,
Understand that your voice alone and the way that you speak will create confidence.
Cool. Thank you. I
I
appreciate
agree.
that.
Just that this is a great way to go about it. Is particularly if you do have a buyer. Like I said, I don't know if Art and Alan, I said that, I did, my buyer made an offer on a house and got beat out by multiple offers. So I sent a letter to the neighborhood, letting the people in the neighborhood know that, my buyer is serious and well qualified and would like to purchase in their neighborhood. And, there were essentially 19 other people interested in their neighborhood, and just use that as a way to get in front of them and try to get a lead that way as well. You saw a mix of letters and calling. And it's even better when you do have an actual buyer, because then it strikes up the conversation.
All right. That's it for today, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Good job. All right. So that's the script. I hope that you found it useful. Just head over to realestatescriptspractice.com for more resources and downloads. This content is for educational purposes only and does not make any guarantees. We suggest you seek the help and or advice of your broker, coach, mentor, office manager, attorney, and or financial advisor. Brought to you by Darren Tunstall, a licensed real estate agent, DRE number 018534445. The intention is to provide you with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. Please note that all results may vary and participants are responsible for their own actions.